Browns already planning life after Shedeur Sanders as Stefanski eyes trade and 2026 draft savior. Cleveland, Ohio. The NFL quarterback carousel never stops spinning, but in Cleveland, it feels more like a malfunctioning theme park ride, one where the Browns keep trying new seats and still end up sick to their stomachs. Despite hosting one of the league's most loaded QB rooms with Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and the ever-hyped Shedeur Sanders, it now appears that Cleveland's brass, led by head coach Kevin Stefanski, has already moved on from one name, Sanders. And his replacement? Reportedly not even in the building yet. Instead, the Browns are planting early seeds for a quarterback who's still in college. That quarterback is Drew Aller, Penn State's rising star, and according to several insiders and analysts, he may already be penciled in as Cleveland's long-term play. Even more stunning, Shedeur Sanders, the son of NFL Hall of Famer Deion Coach Prime Sanders and former face of Colorado football, may not even survive camp cuts. No room at the top. Sanders the odd man out? John Madden once famously said, "If you have two quarterbacks, you have none." In Cleveland, they have four, and still no clear answer. The Browns' QB room looks like a high-stakes game of musical chairs, with Shedeur Sanders increasingly looking like the guy left standing. The front office still clings to the public talking point of open competition, but whispers inside the building suggest otherwise. Reports from analysts like Ryan McChrystal and Mike Moratis claim the Browns are zeroing in on Drew Aller for the 2026 NFL Draft, even if it means enduring another painful season to secure him with a top pick. It's a gamble, but Cleveland's quarterback decisions have rarely been anything but. The message is clear. The Browns are already sketching out a future that doesn't include Sanders, and that future could begin much sooner than anyone expected. Drew Aller, Cleveland's next great hope? Aller is still a college quarterback, but NFL scouts are already salivating over his rocket arm and raw athleticism. In 2024, he completed 54% of his deep throws, 15-plus yards, ranking third among Power 4 quarterbacks. That's the kind of ceiling Cleveland hasn't sniffed in over a decade. It's no surprise, then, that Cleveland is willing to pull the trigger on a QB strategy that could stretch into 2026. With Aller, they see what they've lacked since the days of Bernie Kosar, a true, long-term franchise quarterback. And to make room for that future, hard decisions have to be made in the present. How did Shedeur lose ground so quickly? It's not for lack of effort or skill. In fact, Shedeur Sanders has reportedly been the most accurate passer at Browns minicamp, boasting superior decision-making and ball placement. His 77.4% completion rate has turned heads. But in Cleveland, statistics don't always lead to stability. Browns insider Jay Crawford claims that Stefanski's mind may already be made up. According to Crawford, Pickett is the centerpiece, Gabriel is a developmental project, and Flacco is the veteran insurance. Sanders? An afterthought. Crawford isn't alone. Former Browns safety Tyvis Powell offered a damning indictment of Stefanski's quarterback development philosophy. Speaking on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Powell accused the coaching staff of setting young quarterbacks up to fail, pointing to last year's treatment of Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, who was yanked in and out of games without preparation. Powell's takeaway? That's terrible coaching to me. And now, Shedeur may be the latest victim of the same flawed system. The quarterback carousel. Familiar faces, same results. Let's rewind. First came DTR, the promising UCLA product drafted in the 5th round, who was thrust into a chaotic offense and then swiftly traded to the Eagles. Then came Kenny Pickett, acquired with some fanfare. Joe Flacco re-signed after a decent stint, and Dylan Gabriel, the Oklahoma standout, was selected in the 3rd round. By the time Shedeur Sanders arrived, the narrative had already shifted. Once considered a potential face of the franchise, especially with the Deion Sanders brand behind him, he quickly became just another name on a long list. James Jones, speaking on the facility, summed it up perfectly. Shedeur is the most talented quarterback on that roster. But he also admitted that talent alone might not be enough in a cluttered room with no direction. Who stays and who goes? That brings us to the roster math. Someone has to go. NFL rosters typically don't carry 4 quarterbacks into the regular season. And according to Nathan Zagura on 92.3 The Fan, the odd man out could be Flacco, unless the Browns opt to part ways with Sanders. Zagura offered two potential paths for Pickett. Either he plays well enough to earn a massive contract extension, or he becomes valuable trade bait. Either scenario is beneficial. Flacco, by contrast, has no long-term upside. But Shedeur? He's caught in limbo. Too promising to discard without a look, yet not quite in the plans. Unless injuries or shocking preseason performances shake up the depth chart, Sanders may be heading to another team or the practice squad before he ever takes a meaningful snap in Cleveland. Why is Cleveland still so lost at quarterback? Since 2007, the Browns have spent 4 first-round picks on quarterbacks and invested $230 million fully guaranteed into Deshaun Watson. Yet they still find themselves in the same position, debating which quarterback can hold down the fort for a season, not lead them for a decade. Shedeur Sanders was supposed to be part of the solution. Instead, he's finding himself tangled in Cleveland's messy QB legacy, where talent is often smothered by poor timing, bad coaching, or political front office maneuvering. In a more stable franchise, Sanders' performance in OTAs would have bought him time. But in Cleveland, he's not just battling teammates, he's battling history. Coach Prime's silence is deafening. Notably, Deion Sanders hasn't spoken publicly about his son's status in Cleveland. Given his outspokenness on NFL politics and player treatment, his silence might be louder than words. The Sanders family has always leaned into adversity, but even Coach Prime can't protect Shedeur from NFL realities. The business of football doesn't care about legacy. And in Berea, it seems the Sanders name, once a ticket to opportunity, may now be a burden weighed down by expectations and media scrutiny. The bigger picture: is Stefanski playing for time or job security? Kevin Stefanski, for all his offensive wizardry, hasn't delivered stability at the quarterback position. He's won games, yes, but he's also shuffled through passers at a dizzying pace. Critics argue that the carousel is part of his downfall, not a product of misfortune. If Stefanski truly believes Pickett and Gabriel offer more upside than Sanders, he'll need results quickly. Because fans and ownership are growing impatient, and another wasted season could mean another head coach added to Cleveland's long list of could-have-beens. What comes next for Shedeur? If the current trajectory holds, Shedeur Sanders' stint with the Browns may end before it even truly begins. That would be a bitter pill for a quarterback who lit up the college world with his poise, accuracy, and NFL pedigree. Still, all it takes is one good preseason game to flip a narrative. Perhaps Shedeur forces the Browns to reconsider. Or maybe another team sees what Cleveland doesn't: a smart, athletic quarterback with pedigree and potential, stuck in the wrong system. Either way, the clock is ticking, and for now, it seems the Browns are already looking beyond him.